Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Tensei Slime light novel summary series on AniMonolith. After discussing Agara's fight and reflecting on the lessons from it, the group quickly moved on to the next phase of their plan. Earlier, Testarossa had secretly sent Moss through the various gates to gather intel. Luckily, it worked, so this time she chose to stay outside and monitor the battles through Moss. If anyone got into trouble, she'd immediately step in to help. This revelation shocked both Ultima and Carrera. If Testarossa could see through the gates, that meant she could also watch Rimuru's battle. Naturally, the two were furious. Diablo skipping out to watch was one thing, but Testarossa secretly spying too? That was crossing the line. Before things escalated, Benimaru cut in to calm the situation. He reminded everyone to focus on the mission and added a warning specifically for Carrera. Her opponent, Kondo, was no ordinary man. He was the only one who had detected Moss and even managed to destroy one of his clones with a single bullet. Carrera just smirked at the news, more excited than afraid, while Testarossa reassured her that support would come if needed. With that, Benimaru ordered the next assault on the gates to begin. Shion was still fighting in one, which left 6 gates, minus Velgrin's, for the others to storm all at once. The stage was set for the next clashes. At this point, inside her gate, Shion was locked in a fierce battle against Minaza, the 6th-ranked knight of the single digits, and one of the 4 head knights. Both were breathing heavily, battered and worn, but neither willing to give in. All around, Minaza lay the corpses of countless insect-type creatures, similar to Razul, Zegion, and Apito. Minaza herself was revealed to be one of the Insectar, a race of bug-like magin. When she realized that Shion had already defeated Razul, she laughed with delight, calling him a traitor who deserved his fate. Pressed further, Minaza revealed fragments of her background. She came from another world that ran parallel to the Demon Realm, a place divided into 3 major powers: the Insector, the Phantoms, and the Cryptids. That world was barren, plagued by hunger and hardship, so they constantly sought to invade more prosperous lands. Many had crossed into this world to expand their domain, but some defected, Rajun among them. From these hints, Shion pieced things together. Zegion and Apito must also have been part of that invasion but had betrayed their kin. When Rimuru took them in, it was likely because they were running from enemies, or perhaps from their own kind. Watching how dangerous these Insectar could be, Shion realized that they were a serious threat that needed to be eliminated. For once, her reasoning was sharp and accurate. She was no longer the empty-headed Shion of the past. Ever since her rebirth and her deep connection to Rimuru, her mind had been influenced by Ciel's computational ability, sharpening her instincts and judgment. Of course, Minaza hadn't been talking out of kindness. Her true goal was to stall. While speaking, she had been regenerating her children. Just like Apito, she could give birth to insectoid warriors using a unique skill, Gluttony Rebirth. In addition, the ultimate enchantment, Alternative, loaned by Rudra, had reinforced the system and greatly reduced the time required for rebirth. Egg after egg was produced, and Minaza exulted as her swarm returned, each creature strong enough to rival high-ranking Magin, with some even comparable to Demon Lord Seed. But her triumph was short-lived. Shion unleashed a series of flawless strikes using optimal action, the essence of the unique skill cook. The insect-type Magins were defeated in an instant. Minaza was astonished. Even if she didn't fight herself, she could exhaust her opponents just wearing them down with the children over and over again. She was so good at such tactics that she was confused in the face of a non-standard opponent like Shion. Her greatest advantage was shattered in an instant. Then, rage took over. Shion and Minaza's battle raged on fiercely, neither willing to back down. After her insect children were slaughtered, Minaza absorbed their power and shifted into her true battle form. Shion, undaunted, met her head-on, and the clash between the two became a test of sheer endurance. Shion's ultra-speed regeneration allowed her to recover from every wound almost instantly, while Minaza relied on her superior speed and impenetrable exoskeleton. Blow after blow, their duel seemed endless, both warriors too stubborn to yield. Despite her strength, Shion realized she couldn't break through Minaza's armored shell. Her past experience fighting Razul had taught her to aim for the bone to create an opening, but even that strategy failed. Frustrated yet determined, Shion's desire for greater power surged more than ever before. At that moment, Ciel intervened, presenting her with the long-delayed chance to evolve, a choice she had ignored when Rimuru first granted her a soul. It turns out that before she was given her soul, she ignored the evolution announcement of the World Voice. She thought she was strong enough, and choosing the path of evolution was quite troublesome. Now with the combo, this girl also didn't care about how others evolved. As a result, it was stuck. Now with a strong desire for power, that process was awakened, thanks to Ciel's suggestion. Her magicules flared violently, and she evolved from an Oni into a battle spirit Oni, a divine class being on par with the highest holy demonic spirits. Her very flesh was rewritten, now capable of infinite regeneration so long as magicules remained, rendering her essentially indestructible. Her attacks gained new force, striking not only the body but also the spirit, making her a natural predator of spiritual life forms. Faced with Shion's sudden evolution, Minaza grew desperate. She sacrificed her own lifespan to unleash a forbidden spell, channeling all her strength into one final attempt to annihilate her opponent. But it was already too late. With her newly empowered blade, now a mythical-grade weapon, Shion struck with overwhelming force. Her attack shattered Minaza's body to pieces before the forbidden spell could even be completed. As Minaza lay in fragments, she muttered bitter words, warning Shion that her kindness and hesitation would never allow her to triumph over the true demon lords. But Shion's response was cold and dismissive. She cared nothing for such warnings. With that, the battle ended. Minaza, once the proud insect queen and invader from another world, perished along with her ambitions, leaving only her dying words behind. After the earth-shaking clash between Shion and Minaza, another fierce duel was unfolding. This time, it was Veyron, the second strongest of the 7 demon dukes of Tempest, undefeated for over 4,000 years, facing Marco, an Imperial rank 8. What made the fight especially interesting was that both fighters specialized in imitation. Marco was an impersonator, while Veyron was an imitator. Marco had correctly used the ultimate enchantment alternative by imitating Kondo's form with the unique skill impersonator. By imitating Kondo with the unique skill impersonator, Marco was able to use the ultimate enchantment alternative correctly. He had Kondo's skills at his disposal, and he was efficient without the slightest bit of waste. If nothing changed, Veyron would surely lose. But Veyron laughed it off, declaring that fakes could never surpass the real thing. He promised to show Marco the true art of imitation. Veyron had a unique skill called Imitator, a useful power to be able to become anything. With this Imitator, it was possible to turn into anyone that Veyron saw. It was a skill similar to Marco's Impersonator, but Imitator's accuracy was better. However, Marco was enhanced by Emperor Rudra's power. Considering this, Veyron had no chance to win, but that was not necessary to be said. Because the person Veyron was trying to emulate was stronger than Kondo, whom Marco had imitated, Marco was able to reproduce less than 80% of Kondo's strength. Veyron, who had a similar ability, knew that it was impossible to reproduce someone who was too powerful. That is why Veyron chose a supernatural being who had charmed even his master. By copying the demon lord Rimuru, he hoped to utilize some of his power. But before he could, a mysterious voice stopped him, granting him a new evolution instead. His unique skill. Imitator transformed into the ultimate gift, Artist. With it, Veyron could reproduce not only those he had seen, but even legendary figures at their peak, provided he understood them well enough. Though he could not fully replicate their power, the results were astonishingly close to the real thing. In the next moment, Veyron's form shifted into that of a sharp-eyed young warrior, none other than Byakuya Araki in his prime. Magicules surged from him, his power now comparable to a demon lord. He forged a replica of Araki's transforming sword through matter creation, enhanced by his artist ability, making the fake nearly indistinguishable from the original. The battle resumed at once. Marco unleashed his Plum Blossoms 5 petals thrust, while Veyron countered with Gallery Fake Double Cherry Blossoms 8 petals flash. 8 slashes overwhelmed the 5, cutting off Marco's arms and halting the blade at his throat. Marco collapsed in pain, his disguise unraveling, but Veyron did not kill him. Instead, with a cold smile, he decided Marco would make the perfect toy for Ultima's cruel amusements. Even as Marco begged for mercy and offered to surrender, Veyron dismissed him. To him, surrender in war was meaningless. Once the fighting began, only victory or annihilation remained. With a chilling grin, Veyron silenced Marco's screams by ripping out his tongue, dragging him away as a gift for his mistress. The gentlemanly butler facade slipped, revealing the truth. Veyron was a sadistic demon through and through, the ideal servant of the merciless Ultima. And that's where today's video ends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next AniMonolith recap.